Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Terry and this is Bucket Ponds. Today I have a very interesting video for you. We are talking about snails and we are raising 3 different types of snails in one planted freshwater aquarium. So without any delay, let's jump right in and check out the tank. So this is a 36-gallon bow front aquarium that I have set up about a month ago, mainly to raise Endler guppy hybrids. But of course, with our plants came several different hitchhikers in the form of our beautiful little snails, and I want to share them with you and talk about them a little bit. So in here we have red ramshorn snails, bladder snails, and pond snails. Now these are common names. I won't bore you with the family names of each species, but they are not in the same family. Meaning that these bladder snails will not breed with these ramshorns. Unfortunately, we won't get any crazy hybrids like that, but that's not the plan anyway. This is more of a coincidence that we have these guys kept together in the same aquarium, but I'm pretty thrilled about it, and it's really interesting to me that they are compatible. They all fulfill essentially the same role in their little ecosystems, and they don't compete directly with one another as far as, any kind of aggression or, harming each other. They can coexist quite well, and they'll eat the same foods, they'll live in the same water temperatures, and they'll do pretty good together. So here we have the ram's horns, at least one, feeding on a cucumber slice, and a bladder snail in the background cruising by there. They will gladly take cucumber slices, which excites me. These ram's horns are new to my pet collection, and I haven't had them for very long, so we're still studying them and learning about how they work. These ram's horns were given to me recently as part of a donated aquarium. Yes, someone gave us a whole aquarium complete with plants and fish and snails, and it's really great. But since then I've spread the ram's horns to a few of my other tanks to make sure that we don't lose them. But here we have a pond snail. Yes, the pond snails, their ancestors came from a hobbyist in Puerto Rico who sent me some pond snails. Now, I'm not advocating, that we move snails across state lines or anything like that, but I am very careful with these pond snails. There's some of my fish in the background as well. These are Endler guppy hybrids, mostly males there, and that large one is a female. But yes, the pond snails, they are a little slower, and they breed a little slower, and they're a little bit larger than the other snails in this aquarium as well. I believe that they are used to a more tropical environment. That's where they evolved. At least, the forerunners of this particular family line that I have here. But they do well in my tanks. I run unheated aquariums. Unheated. About 70 degrees, roughly, room temperature. And here we have a bladder snail and some eggs. All 3 of these species can coexist without any issues. The bladder snails are a little smaller than the pond snails, and I think that the ram's horns might get a little bit larger than the bladder snails. Now, I've been reading a lot about different snail species recently, and it came to my attention that a lot of different species are going extinct. Now, I'm not some big climate change guy. I'm not going to talk about that too much. But it really upsets me. Biologists should be out there collecting these very specialized snails and, breeding them in aquariums and things. Just so if they do go extinct in the wild, we can have some to study for the future, like the fish lake Physa, and even the black shear snails that have disappeared from Lake Blackshear, which is not so far away from me right now. I would like to one day plan some collection trips and go around and capture some of these snails, maybe even search for some of the recently extinct species and see if we can't get lucky and maybe find a few of them and set up a breeding population. I think that would be really cool to move from hobbyist to conservationist. And yeah, I would like to do that, but that's plans for the future. This aquarium here is more or less just for fun. And I'm just happy to see my snails coexisting. Here we have a ram's horn hanging out with a bladder snail, another bladder snail cruising by, and that's pretty cool to me, guys. So I hope that you love snails as much as I do. Many people call these different species here, they call them pests, and they kill them. They try to eradicate them from their aquarium. But none of these three species, pond snails not seen here yet, but none of these different small snails here will harm live plants. They will not consume live plants, nothing like that. They are not harmful to your tank. All they will do is increase your bio load as they cruise around and eat any loose food or anything like that. You may see some fish food flakes descending in the background. I am overfeeding this tank on purpose to, encourage the snails to breed more often. More food means more eggs for all three of these different species. Here's a great example of some ramshorns breeding as we speak. But I am also adding some different snail foods for them as well. I have noticed a slight calcium deficiency in their shells in this aquarium, so I will have to add some form of calcium to help build up, good strong shells. It's very important for a snail. I am also dosing this aquarium with small amounts of water from my crayfish tank. And this is done to trigger a fear response in the snails. It sounds a bit cruel, but it's not, trust me. But this fear response, when the Physa snails, when the bladder snails detect a predator like a crayfish, they will begin to breed more rapidly, which I think is very interesting, and it's a nice way to trick them into breeding even more crazily than they usually do. Is that a word? Crazily? But yes, this is documented. I will put some links in the description to various scientific papers talking about this effect, and it can even cause some changes in their shell design as they seek to survive being near a predator like a crayfish. So they will try to breed more often, their shells will get a little thicker, and I think it's a very interesting thing, and I'm trying to use that to my advantage to breed even more snails than normal. Now, I was looking into our various Physa snails, and you may be familiar with my breeding program incorporating different family lines from different states, but I believe that I may have accidentally crossed some subspecies of bladder snails. They look very similar, some of them, and I have acquired bladder snails from several different states. So it's quite possible that we actually have created some little hybrids here, and yeah, that's pretty interesting. But here our ramshorns are breeding, and they seem pretty at home in the new aquarium. This is a 36-gallon bow front tank that I found on the side of the road a few years ago, and I've just had it in storage since then, but I had the urge to build a new tank. Anybody in aquariums, they will know that, like, sometimes you just have to set up an aquarium. You can't help it. It's an addiction. But I had the urge to throw this tank together and to breed up some more of my little endler fish. So I wanted to share it with you. I wanted to show you that the bladder snails, the ramshorns, and the pond snails can all live together in relative harmony. And the endlers, of course, they don't mind them at all. These endler guppies, they will not harass the snails. They won't try to eat the snail eggs, generally. They're pretty relaxed fish. They're mostly concerned with breeding and eating fish food flakes, of course. But I have kept Gambusia, mosquito fish, with my snails before, and the mosquito fish will actively eat the eggs of the bladder snails. They will even go as far as eating the antenna off of the bladder snails as well. So keep that in mind if you raise mosquito fish. Hey guys, while we're talking about snails, this is a moss bladder snail, and I would love to raise some of these guys in the future. They occur only in the Great Lakes region here in the United States. If you know anyone who happens to keep or can find moss bladder snails, please contact me. I've scoured the internet searching for them. I would love to order some and to keep them just in case they do, one day go extinct. Again, that's a whole nother family of snails, of course. But yeah, guys, I'm rambling a bit. Mainly, I just wanted to show you that these different species can live together in harmony without any big concerns or issues. They will not try to hurt each other. They generally, they might try to breed here and there, but it shouldn't be possible physically, so you shouldn't have to worry about any kind of crazy hybrids coming out of this situation. But thanks for watching, guys. We rambled a bit here, but the main point is that you can keep ramshorns, pond snails, and bladder snails together in the same aquarium without any issues. My name is Terry, this is Bucket Ponds, and thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, you're really great, and I'm proud of you. So please check my channel for more content. And yeah, have a great day, guys. I upload weekly videos, so feel free to subscribe, drop a comment, whatever you want to do. It's always great to hear from you. So I will see you next time, and have a great night.